Hello, I'm Julia.
And I'm Sue.
And welcome to Sticks and Stones Podcast. Today on Sticks and Stones episode 48, we'll be talking about caring for your hand knits and blocking your sweaters and shawls. Join us. So welcome back.
Hello.
And here we are in mid-October. And it's fall.
It's fall.
And
It's beautiful.
Yes.
It's sunny.
Yes. It's been a very good couple of days for the weather.
Has been. But it gets a little chilly when the sun goes behind the clouds.
Yeah.
I was working outside yesterday on my computer and suddenly I was freezing and I had to get out my little hand mitts.
Oh yeah.
I've already
That
started
much already.
wearing those and it's
Oh,
going to be
gosh.
sweater season soon. And
That's the best season.
yes.
That is the best season.
It is. It is. It is. It is.
Yeah. So yeah, and I'm actually wearing
Ta-da!
my new sweater. Yeah, I'm very excited by it. It's cozy and it's just what I wanted it to be.
Nice.
So
It's great when a project turns out the
Yeah.
way you wanted it to be.
yeah, and this will be actually one of my blocking stories for today.
I can't wait.
I'll save it for later, let the suspense grow.
We're doing blocking.
Yes, we are.
Right?
Yeah.
Blocking.
Kinda. Use these things.
Oh.
So I don't know.
I've never
Get
seen
those
that.
hands there. But yeah, there's a story behind this, and that'll be kind of fun to talk about a little bit later.
So in the meantime, what have you been finishing up, working on, starting?
Not well. I have two finished things. I have this, and I have the birthday sweater, but it's not here, so I'll have to show you guys next time. But it turned out really good, and apparently I had washed it and left it on his bed to see because it was kind of a post birthday thing. I didn't have buttons for it to actually give it to him on the day, so he couldn't wear it until yesterday. And apparently he was upstairs singing to himself, "I'm so happy."
That's so cute.
That's good. I was worried that he wasn't going to like it.
That's so cute.
Yeah. Yeah, the dinosaurs were the final touch, and they turned out pretty good, I think. Ooh, I'm sorry, there's a fly.
He wants to be famous.
He does. Getting in my face. Yeah, that's finished, and then I've got, I did finish, when I was gone on vacation, I finished my socks.
They're so pretty.
These things took me, well, the ends aren't woven yet, but they took me over a year to make, so I'm very happy they're done and I can finally wear them.
And you can wear them in time for Halloween.
Yeah. I did a little experiment pattern here on the front that I kind of like. I think I may try that again. Just a little slip stitch pattern to make the stripes a little more interesting.
Fun.
So yeah, got another pair already in the works. These are
They match your sweater that you're wearing.
Christmas. Yeah, see, I'm just consistent like that. But these are going to be a Christmas present. So they're going to have an afterthought heel, which is why there is no heel and there's just this little doodad, because that's where the heel will go.
So do you cut it open? Dun, dun, dun.
Yep, got to snip a stitch and pick up the stitches and put in a heel.
So you're going to show us how to do that at some point?
I could. Yeah, that would be a good project. Yeah, so we'll do afterthought heel with this sock. And I just have to find a contrast color to match, because I didn't like the way the stripes looked on the heel. I didn't think it looked right with this width of stripe. So that's why it'll be afterthought. So I'm working on those, and then because this is the season of birthdays, I have another project that will involve these colors. There they are. This will be a shawl for the soon-to-be 10-year-old.
Oh, these are so soft.
Yeah, I know. I can never get over the feeling of wool.
So she picked these out?
She did. She went downstairs to my bucket of surprises, and she just started going and pulling colors out and putting them on the table and mixing them around, and this is what she chose.
Well, I have to say that I think she did a really good job
Yeah.
of mixing this multicolored piece with these guys.
Yeah, I agree. I think she's got some good color sense. So
Nice.
So this will be something, I don't know quite what it's going to be yet, what kind of shawl, but I have an idea. So
I'm sure you'll be able to whip something up? Are you going
I
to
hope
follow
so.
a pattern, or are you going to create your own pattern?
I'm following a recipe of sorts. It's actually coming from one of our other book reviews. It's called Shawl Shapes. So I'm taking her general descriptions on how to create the different shawl shapes, and I'm going to create one of my own.
Nice.
So.
That'll be exciting.
Yeah, so that'll be part of the book review. I'll talk about the details of all that.
Has anybody reviewed your book? The book that you wrote?
No, I haven't seen it yet. Well, there's been a couple blog posts, but mostly talking about the particular project. So speaking of, I'm going to be doing part of the book tour blog posting soon in the next couple weeks. Mine will go up.
You can check back at our website and see when Julia will be there. I'm sure she'll let us know.
And it's www.sticksandstonespodcast.wordpress.com.
Oh, I forgot the WordPress.
That's okay. That's right. So that's really all I'm doing. That's about it for now. And I have 3 weeks to do that shawl. So
is that a lot of time? Not enough time?
I don't know yet.
We're squeaking by.
Kinda, because it's not a pattern. If it was written down already, that would be one thing. But because I'm kind of creating it, you never know. So we'll see.
So you're gonna hibernate and just knit?
No. I don't have time for that either.
Busy time of year.
It is, yeah. So what do you have there? Some unusual things?
I was just sharing some new tools that I got that I'm excited to use. I'm going to be going away for my annual girls weekend soon, so this I got over the summer actually when I went to a workshop, and this is a sandbag.
Okay.
So it's filled with sand and it's leather.
Oh, cool.
And so you use it for shaping when you're hammering metal, so you can like make a divot in it and hammer.
Okay.
And it'll shape a piece of metal very slowly, and you can manipulate the shape, the direction of the metal, so that it will shape it. Compared to what we did last time, where we were hitting it against a metal block.
Right, the flat.
Well, now you're going to flatten it out and make it go in different directions. Where this, you may take a piece and not want to flatten it, but you just want to curl it.
Okay.
So that's what you can use as well. And I also got this hammer, which you wouldn't necessarily use. You could use it on this, but you won't necessarily. A lot of times to make the shaping, you use a ball peen hammer, which is the one that looks like it has a little dome on one side.
Right.
But this is a cool hammer because it's an interchangeable hammer, so you can take these ends off.
I thought they were like chair legs.
And you can put on something different. So you have different types of hammers.
What's the difference between them?
So they just are different like weights of plastic. Well, this is metal, and then this is like a rubber mallet.
Okay.
And so you can feel that they're different. This one's more solid than these are. So depending on what you're hitting, if it's really fragile, you don't want to hit it with something metal. You're going to dent it.
I see.
So you might want to, if you're flattening something, you would use a rubber mallet or like a nylon mallet.
Okay.
But if you have something that is a little more delicate, so you can feel how these are rubbery.
Yes.
And they flex more than this one does. So you can just screw these off. They also make hammers like this for jewelry making for texturing, that you can buy different textures and screw the textures on.
There's a thing on the end.
Yeah, it's metal, and then it might be, you know, maybe they cut out pieces of it.
Okay.
It's like a stamp, but it's like a big stamp. So maybe this has zigzags on it, and you screw that on because you want zigzags on your piece. So wherever you want, you know,
just like really hollow on it. To get it to stamp or to get it to...
No, because most of the time you're texturing it. You're not necessarily like stamping it, but you're texturing it and giving it a different look.
Okay.
And a lot of times when you're texturing it, you're not necessarily... it's almost like a background noise. You may not see the actual shapes, but you're just creating a texture, something interesting. So anyway, so those are two tools that I just got recently that
Those are fun.
I'm looking forward to using, and my torch. And,
your torch.
Yes. Maybe sometime we'll do torch work.
Danger.
Well, with the copper, with the earrings that we made last time, if you torch them, you can change the color of them.
Okay.
So maybe sometime we'll do that.
They've gotten lots of compliments. I've heard nothing but good things about those earrings.
Oh,
so,
cool.
Yeah, so I don't know, I would highly recommend going out and making them. It was fun.
Oh, you mean from people we ran into?
Yeah.
So since we were I think you meant on our website.
No, well, because,
Yeah, I know. I've worn them a couple times too, and people are like, wow, those are really cool.
Well, we made them.
Yes.
That's always
that's
the
we
most
even
fun
have
for me.
orders already, right?
Yes,
for Christmas.
we do. A couple Christmas orders. So, yeah.
Gotta get on that.
That's up to you.
Between that and Halloween costumes,
yeah,
I need to get on those. I haven't really started. They shouldn't be too hard this year, except my kids, I don't think are going to be hard, except this year I'm making a costume for my dog.
Oh.
I have never made a costume before a dog. I've never dressed up my dog, but because we have a seeing eye puppy, we march in a lot of Halloween parades.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And, you know, just to get the word out about seeing eye. And so they encourage us to dress up.
That's funny.
So our family decided unanimously, because, you know, he's the shepherd with the big ears, that we need to make him Batman.
Oh gosh, that's going to be very funny.
It is. But once I'm done and I have a picture, I'll share it.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I have a big idea of doing like a big yellow swath with the Batman symbol here. I just haven't quite figured out the cape part yet, because I'm concerned that he's gonna like be real freaked out by it touching his back, or that it's gonna slide around the whole time and he'll be walking on it.
Oh, that's funny. It's gonna be funny.
We'll see what happens.
I just saw a thing the other day about, you know, what do we really need in life, and it was things like costumes for your dog.
I've never
need this?
Right, I've never had a costume for my dog ever. I've never dressed up my dog for Halloween.
We tried, and he took the hat off and ate it. So
nice.
You know,
I'm kind of wondering if I can do a mask. I don't know that he's gonna wear the mask, but yeah, we'll see.
Just get some really dark, like charcoal, and color his fur.
Well, he does have black around his eyes. He's a shepherd, so we can go without a mask, but it would be kind of cool.
It would be very cute. That'd be neat.
I think I needed to just head to the pet store and kind of look at dog costumes and see how they're, because their heads are shaped funny too. How do you can't put a mask around like you do a person.
True. There's not that much behind the head.
Right. So.
Well, good luck.
Thanks. Hey, you know, if it goes badly, then we're just gonna go to the store.
Yeah, buy something. Yeah,
so.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't have many plans yet. Although apparently I need to make a cat tail by a cat tail, not a cat tail, by Saturday. So that won't be hard. I just have to get.
I think we have them somewhere in our house, because we've had
like
them
4,
before.
and they're just, I don't know where they went. So yet another cat tail. Because cats are big.
Yes, still.
Yeah. If you have children and have not yet discovered warrior cats, please join us in our pain.
Apparently there's this game now that you can play too. Really? In one of the books, it's like Dungeons and Dragons.
For warrior cats.
For warrior cats.
Oh,
and
yay.
so my son has thoroughly researched it and has big plans to have your kid over to play it. Glad I could expose it to you here in public so that you can't hurt me, because it will be on video.
Go warrior cats. If I don't hear another cat meow from my children in my lifetime, it will be too soon.
I suppose if they get your kids to read, it's great. But
yes, that's
we didn't
true.
really need that. Our kids already read.
Yeah. Well, on that note, we're going to be doing care of your hand knits and blocking today. So I've got my tricks of the trade, and I'll show you guys kind of what I do. And then you have some questions about a sweater you brought.
Yes, I do.
So we'll be going through some of that. And as we go, and after the fact, if you guys have other questions, just drop a line and I'd be happy to see if I can answer them. So we'll be right back with our blocking tools, and we'll be doing some blocking. Today we're going to talk about blocking your hand knits. There's not really a specific protocol to blocking, so I'm going to show you guys what I do, and it works for me, but I'm sure there's other options out there. The things that I use when I block is some towels for squeezing the water out, and then I block it right on my towel. You need some kind of rust-proof T-pin in order to pull out the garment or the shawl or the lace. Not everybody likes to stretch their garments, but I find that I like a little extra ease in mine, so adding a little bit of tension while it dries really helps. I also have some blocking wires, and these are kind of a luxury, but they make really nice angles and curves in your shawls, and they can give a little extra stability for the edges of your fabric while it's drying. You're also going to want some kind of wash because your yarn does get dirty as you're working with it. I like a no rinse wash, but you could use something like Dawn dish detergent as well, just something that's going to take the grease out. The difference here is that this one does not suds, so when it's done, it's done. You don't have to rinse it a second time. So for delicate fabrics, that's a nice idea. So I have filled my sink a little bit with some cool water. I like to use either cool or warm, but one of the most important things when you're washing and rinsing, if you do need to rinse, is not to change temperature, because in some garments that will cause it to felt. So I have my wash, and I'm just going to pour a little bit into the water, just about a tablespoon's worth. You don't need a whole lot. And then I take my shawl. Now this shawl's been sitting in a closet for a while, so it's not really very nice looking anymore. So this is what it looks beforehand, and then we'll see how it turns out at the end. So I'm just going to stick my shawl in, and we gently push it down. I like to let it sit in the water and just kind of soak up, so when it sinks, it's saturated. If you don't have time for that, you can really press it down and kind of squish the water through. But I never like to be really rough with my hand knits, even if they are superwash. It just, I think it keeps the shape of the garment a little bit better. So we would let this sit for about 15-20 minutes, and then we'll take it out of the water. After your garment has sat in the water for long enough to be soaked all the way through, you're going to take it out and just squeeze it gently. Squeeze the water so that it's not dripping as much as you can. You don't want to wring it, don't twist it. Just squeeze until it feels less saturated. And it's really not, I'm not squeezing out a lot of drips anymore. Then I take it and I lie it onto a towel. Take your garment and lay it out onto a towel so that it's just one layer as much as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect at this point. After it's laid out, you're going to take the towel and start rolling it up like this with the garment inside. After your garment is all rolled up into kind of a jelly roll, you're just going to squish it, fold it, and squeeze that water right out. Get as much pressure as you can. You may feel the towel soaking through, and that's okay. It just means you're getting a lot of the water out. Just keep squeezing it until you think it's been a minute or so. And then you unroll. And your garment should be, it'll be still damp to the touch. But if you see, my towel here is very, very wet. So the water is now in the towel instead of in the garment. So now the garment is just a little bit damp, and we're ready to pin it out. I'm going to use my blocking wires, so I'll show you how I thread that through. What I like to do is find the edge of the garment, and then I just take the wire and I weave it in, just up and down through the fabric every couple stitches so that it runs along the edge of the fabric. There's not any real rhyme or reason to it. I suppose some people may have a theory, but I do not. I just kind of put it through where it's easy. And you just keep weaving along. And after a period of time, you'll get a piece like this. It's stuck onto the wire, so the edge will be very easily stretched and you won't get any unusual points. I've woven 2 wires into my shawl, one across the top and one across the bottom curve. You could really do 3 if you wanted a point here, but today I've decided to do a curve. Like I said, the nice thing about this is that now when I pull the edges out, I'm not going to get a point where my T-pin is, because I'll be having the wire to brace that edge. I'll show you the difference here as I go along. But your next step is to take a T-pin and just push it through the fabric right to the inside of the wire. And then you want to stretch this out. Now my couch is not quite big enough. I would actually normally use a bed or a mattress for something like this, because I don't have fancy blocking wires, or not wires, but mats. If you do have blocking mats, that's great, because they can be modular and you can make it as big or small as you want to. If I was truly going to block this fully today, I would use my bed for a larger surface, but this will give you the right idea. So you're going to take your T-pins and just continue to stretch and pin, and then again stretch and pin. so that your leaves are becoming more open, the eyelets you can see better. If you look at the section over here, it's still very crumpled, but once we are done, they're all going to be spread. So again, I will just stretch and pin, and stretch and pin. If you did not use the wire, what would happen is that the fabric would pull and you would get a point. If you did that all along, it would give you a scalloped look, which is quite nice if that's the look you're going for. You would have scallops like this all the way along the edge. I like a smoother look. I think it just, for me and my personal taste, I like the fabric itself to be the emphasis, not the edge, which is why I will put my pin inside the wire to make it smooth. So you just keep pinning around, putting a pin every couple of inches until it is the size and shape that you'd like it to be. If you're working on a garment, it's helpful to have a ruler and your schematic so that you can pull it to the dimensions that the sweater is supposed to be in order to make it fit you. Objects do need to be reblocked, so don't throw away that pattern. You may find that down the road you'll have to reblock and you'll want to know how far to measure those sides apart. So that's the basic idea. You just keep on going around, stretching and pinning until the shawl is the shape of your liking. Then you let it go. You just leave it alone to dry for as long as it takes. Usually a day or so is good enough to let something of this size dry, depending on your humidity level. And when that is done, you just remove your pins, remove your wires, and wear.
So, blocking.
Yeah.
You always talk about blocking, and I
do.
never knew what it was.
And I often talk about it with my students too. I teach beginners and I say, well, when you're done and you block this, they look at me like I have 3 heads and say, block? What does that mean? So I figured maybe there's people out there who really don't know why we do it.
It gave me about 20 questions now. I had one question which was, the reason we came up with this podcast was I just got this sweater at a rummage sale for probably $1.
Okay.
Sometimes when I buy things at a rummage sale and it says hand wash only, I say, you know what? I don't want to hand wash this, and I throw it in the washer, and sometimes it turns out and sometimes it doesn't. And I say for $1, if it shrinks, I'm okay with it.
Right. But
But this is a really pretty sweater, and it does say that it's hand knit, and so I don't want to destroy it. So my question was, how do I wash this? It does say hand wash, but you're saying that I should block it. So I should wash it with the soap that you're suggesting.
with this one, because we looked at the tag and it does have acrylic in it, you could put it in your washer on gentle cycle or on the wool cycle if you have that on your washer. Mine has a wool cycle. And I'll put my superwash items in the washer on that cycle. Because those, sorry that flies back, because those items will not felt or shrink in the agitation. So you could do that with this, but I would always lay it flat to dry, which is a good half part of the blocking process, is lying it out, setting it to the dimensions you want it to be, smoothing the wrinkles. Hello, Barley.
Okay, so when it tells me to lay something flat, I mean, my method always was to be, I get out my drying rack, I throw it in the middle of my yard, and I just drape it over top. But really, I should be taking the time to lay it flat, not putting over the dry rack because it has those little divots.
Right, it will, you know, if your sweater is sitting on a post like that, it'll dry with that pucker there. Or if you hang it over a doorknob while it's wet, it'll dry with a little.
Okay. And so I have a really nice wool sweater that I love wearing in the fall. It was one of those that looks like it was knitted in, like it's from Peru or something like that. And so really, when I wash it, I should be blocking that.
Yeah, it would be. It's nicer if you do. And really, even things like dishcloths and things that you don't think need to be blocked, a scarf, for example, or a hat, they just look nicer if you shape it while it's drying. If you lay it.
So we have shaped hats before by putting plastic bags in them and then putting them over a bowl.
Right.
But when you do something like a sweater and you want it to stay with the pins, you do it on your bed or on your sofa and just shove the pins right into your furniture.
I do. Right? Yeah, because for a long time I haven't had anything. I don't have a carpet that's deep enough that I can stick a pin into, or I don't have a. They do sell special blocking mats. They're like the rubber floor pieces that kind of interconnect.
Okay.
You can use those. But I just find my mattress is fine as long as I put a towel down so the water doesn't soak into the bed. And really things are pretty dry at that point. Anyway.
And then at some point you're like, sorry honey, you have to sleep on the floor because my sweater's dry.
I have heard about this.
Do you put all of your sweaters on his side first? There's like 30
I can really only fit one or two things tops on the bed because they really do spread out. You don't realize how big they are until you're blocking them. And some of the shawls have a 6-foot wingspan.
Right.
So I'm going across the edge, diagonally across the bed and poking things in and trying to get them to not hang over the edges. Yeah, it can be pretty interesting. And then you have to make sure you get all the pins out before you sleep, because that's not fun.
Yes.
But yeah, I just push it right down either into the couch cushion, into the mattress, so that it's anchored and it won't move.
Okay.
Yeah.
I learned so much today. I learned that I was completely doing my laundry wrong.
Not all of it, I'm sure. But I was going to tell you about my sweater. When I put this on right after I finished making it, I was scared. I was worried. I could not fit my arm through comfortably with a long sleeve underneath it. It was snug. It was really tight. I could get this front came like this. It wouldn't come across the front here at all. And it's a wrap sweater, so I don't know if you guys could see how it's...
Time's up. Sorry, we're done.
It's a wrap sweater, so if you guys can see how far it goes now, when I first did it, I could only get it to here.
Oh my goodness.
Like, right.
So super wash, that's what it's called?
Yes.
It's a kind of wool.
It's treated so that it won't felt.
Okay.
It smooths the scales, much like scales in your hair. Wool has scales on it that will grab and won't release if they get agitated. So a superwash wool has been treated so those scales are smooth and the wool fibers will still slide against each other. So putting this in the washer last night, which was, it's always like, what's going to happen the first time you wash it? I was worried. And then here it is.
So it got bigger.
It did. It got much bigger and softer.
So the next time you wash it, will it get even bigger?
I'm not sure about that. And it's always kind of a guess. I prefer my clothes to be a little bit bigger rather than skin tight, so that doesn't bother me if things grow. But you do have to kind of know what are you looking for, and if it does grow, is that okay?
Can you half shrink it by putting it in the dryer?
You might be able to shrink it up a little bit, yeah, with the heat.
But it would be something you'd have to watch.
Yeah, you would. You'd have to pay attention to it.
Taking it out, putting it back in, taking it out, putting it back in.
Right, so next time I wash this, I will probably soak it instead of throwing it in the washer. I just was on a tight time scale, and I wanted to make sure that it did fit.
Right.
I was hopeful that would do the trick, which it did. So, yeah, blocking can do amazing things. It can take, for example, I had a sweater, if you guys remember my Hitafude, the green one I made a couple of months back. I thought it was going to fit my 9-year-old. It looked so tiny, and by the time I got done washing it and blocking it, it was big enough to fit me like it was supposed to. So, blocking is pretty neat.
Wow, who knew?
I know. So, yeah, care of hand knits. The biggest thing is just, pay attention to your ball band too. Whatever it says, follow those directions, because you will not be happy if you ruin your yarn by accident.
Right. So your socks, do you throw them in the washing machine?
Those I do. Yeah, those are pretty hard wearing. They have nylon in them usually, so I can just throw them in. And most of the time, some of the old pairs I'll throw in the dryer too, because they're just so old that if they fall apart, they fall apart, and that's okay. Right. But you can lay them flat to dry. You can put them on special sock blockers that are shaped like a sock, or just hang them up. Okay. There's lots of different things out there, little gadgets. But if I had to recommend, the most important things: blocking wires, rust-proof T-pins, and very absorbent towels. Those are my big 3. Okay.
Wow, I'm going to have to go do some laundry now. Get ready for fall with all my sweaters that I didn't wash correctly.
Yeah.
All right.
So thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I hope you learned as much as I did.
Yeah, and if you guys have questions, like I said, just drop a line and I'll see what I can do to answer them.
Sounds good.
All right, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Bye.